Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to play an Irish jig called Out on the Ocean. Out on the Ocean is a lovely Irish jig, widely played, and I've taken quite a lot of trouble to watch Kevin Burke playing this and see exactly how he does the bowing and see what we can learn from this. So this video is going to be the basic melody, but his version and his bowing, and some general principles that we can glean about the bowing. And incidentally, I'll be doing a separate version, a beginner's version of this tune, where I go through it really slowly and do all of the fingering, and that will be on my Patreon page if you're interested. Okay, so I think I'll go slowly through the whole thing with the bowing as written, and then we'll go back and look at the individual parts. So nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm well aware that I'm not the world's best sight reader, and when I play I tend to make up my own bowing, even though I'm trying to demonstrate the bowing itself. But what I've written is, I think, what I want you to learn. So the first thing I want to point out is that Kevin Burke starts with an up bow, and this is something that I do quite a lot as well on jigs, and there's a good reason for it. So if you just look at bar 1, starting with an up, it allows you to put a strong beat on the next beat on a down. So assuming you like doing a strong beat on a down bow, then starting on an up gives you that strong beat on the down. So that's quite a good idea, and it's something it's well worth practicing and maybe doing naturally with a lot of different jigs. Let's just go over that bar a few times, the first bar, and we'll simplify the rest of it, so we're concentrating on the very beginning. So that's a good rule, well, not a rule, it's a good possibility for playing jigs, is starting on an up bow. I know the general rule that most people teach is start everything on a down bow, but if you've got a good reason to do it on an up, then do that. Okay, second thing, slurring across the middle of the bar. So we got this in bar 15, beginning of the second line of the second part. So we got... So what's the purpose of this? When you slur into a beat, then you can kind of do a whoosh on the second half of that note. And he further emphasises this by doing that little double cut. So let's try just repeating the bar a couple of times, and we'll reverse the bowing. And if you're unsure about what the double cut is, I do have a video about the cut and the double cut, and it's very normal. Well, particularly in this situation, you will slur the double cut will be part of a slur. So in this case, we're slurring the all of that together. Okay, one aspect of Kevin Burke's playing is that he very often, when he wants to really emphasize a note, whenever it's possible, he does it with a double note. So in this case, because the tune's in G, it's easy to get a bottom G drone on just those really strong notes at the end of the line. So we've got that. So he just presses down a little bit harder on the G with the third finger, and pressing down with the bow will bring the open G in there as well. So the strongest accents are going to be those ones that are double stringed. Let's look at the fourth bar of the tune, which goes. It's a tricky little thing. So we've got two slurs, separate, and then two slurs. Now that separate note, the D, it makes no sense if you play it conventionally. It's just really tricky to do. But if you make that note almost disappear, then it sounds really neat. So all we're doing is a tiny little scratch on that note. And it then has a really good feeling to it. Okay, so let's go through the whole thing again slowly, and we'll try and follow all of this bowing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost got it. Okay, so as a very general rule, when you watch my videos, you will notice I will quite often try and do the same pattern all the way through a tune. So I put in an accent in a certain place on every bar, and that's a really good exercise. But in practice, it's not good. It's not a good way of actually performing a tune. And what you really want to do, and what Kevin Burke definitely does do, is to take things phrase by phrase. And I strongly suspect that he doesn't really think about what he's doing, because he's spent 50 years working on it. And so it's quite subconscious, and that's what you're aiming at. So don't expect to get really good bowing in 5 minutes, 5 hours, even 5 years. It takes a lot of work. But it's good to have, to know what the tools are, to know where it's possible to do phrases, where it's possible to do accents, how it's possible to make those accents come out of the bows, and really that's what you're aiming for. So, as I said, there's an absolute beginner's version of this on my Patreon page, and it's the Patreon that keeps these videos coming, so do please consider having a look at that. I will play you out a couple of times round up to tempo, and if you would like a PDF of this sheet music with all the bowing, then do subscribe to the channel and send me an email. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.